culture is black culture. We were progressive. We were progressively moving. Opportunities were steadily arising, but these things were still happening. Now we just all put on notice, on worldwide notice, and just to kind of spin it back, beyond just the black experience, for whites, for Indian, or any other culture. I kind of stayed away from social media and trying to put hashtags out there because you know what, man, me and Armand and I, we're blessed to have this small platform where we can kind of just do it like this, and I'd rather for it to be this way because nothing can be taken out of content or context, and we can kind of just say what we want to say. This is verbal, this is head up, word for word, and we can do it this way. And I feel like this is a whole lot more efficient than battling through social media. But I say all that to say this: the whole thing with the Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, whatever. These terms, we can't let these terms trip us up. And I don't mean Keon or Armand. I mean everybody. Because they're just slogans, man. We're classified as African Americans. If you're mixed, you're classified as Latino. What are you? You're a human. Well, these are basic, simple classifications, and these classifications tend to separate us. For instance, in that Orlando shooting, so that was horrible, and most of those brothers and sisters happen to be of the LGBT group. So what do you get? Oh, LGBT pride. We're rioting, we're having protests on the strength of that. But it's like you got people saying, oh well, y'all wouldn't have did it if it was nobody black. But chill, relax. We're all the same. It's all the same. It's all the same cause. And like you said, Armand, we just need everybody to stand up. The police need to stand up. Our culture needs to stand up. All cultures need to stand up, and we need to get out of that box, get out of our safety boxes. What America does for us is it makes us real comfortable. We work, we earn, we come home, we watch whatever you want to watch. Your How to Get Away with Murder, your Scandal, you watch your ABC, your On Demand, and you just time out. You forget about the real world, and you go back and you do it all over again. But what we're not grasping is we're having injustice, man, and it's ridiculous. And it's getting really bad, and we just all got to.
I think that you have to. I'm bad for cutting you off. You gonna say something?
I will.
Well, I think we have to. I think that some people do look at it as we all humans, but I don't think everybody does, because you can see when that officer shot that guy in Minnesota, the guy was dying. He did not administer no first aid.
Right.
He didn't try to help that guy. Right. That guy literally died on camera.
Yeah.
And he just watched him and still had his gun pointed at him and at the woman. So my thing is, I just do the science little thing. I don't say too much online, but I just sit back and watch people's reactions.
Same.
Now, when they killed a gorilla for dragging this 2-year-old around, yeah, people were up in arms, signing petitions to charge this lady with this stuff. But then when you shoot this guy in cold blood, no record, and it harkens back to me, because I'm like, many times I carry all the time. That's what I do. But I'm always respectful when I get pulled over. And if I got some guy, some cop who's scared of me, pull his gun out and shoot me because he don't respect my life more than he respects other lives. I see it in college. I see how certain cultures get around when they get around white people, how they genuflect, as we say in Catholic Church. I see it. And I see how they clutch their bag around you. So it's like, we see it from a different perspective, B. Keon, we see it differently. We respect everybody. Yeah. If I see somebody on the street having a seizure or a shot, I am helping that human. Right. But there's some people in some positions that don't see people that equal. Yeah. And look at them that way. And I don't see how somebody can speak up for a gorilla or a lion, but not a human being. I don't care what his record was of selling CDs or rock. The man is, and the guy in Minnesota didn't have no record. But just to see a human being suffering on his way out of his last vision was you before he met his maker. I don't know how some people sleep at night moving like that. And unless he was trying to kill you, then it's justified. Okay, this guy is trying to kill me. He almost killed me. Then I was okay. Well, you were trying to save your life and other people's lives. But in a lot of these cases, I don't really see like Eric Garner or the guy in Minnesota. I don't see them trying to kill the person, apprehending them. Like, that didn't come up. So it's like some people don't view other people as valuable.
Yeah.
I view everyone as valuable. But some people don't have that utopian idea about humanity.
Well said, man. I mean, well said. I couldn't have said it any better, brother. What do you think as far as like, because like here, and this is what you were saying, Armand, how Cheltenham, communities like Cheltenham, Abington, Drexel Hill, where I'll just say that those communities are functioning, I would say on a 90% rate of pretty good equality, right, as far as law enforcement goes in the community.
Mm-hmm.
But the world might not quite know. But you were saying off air that like Cheltenham, Abington, these communities can kind of be models of how things could work. It ain't gonna be perfect, but it can get a hell of a lot better than this.
Yeah, because I think that culturally is different. Culturally, the community is calm. It's a working class community. They were used 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Really, majority of people are at work. 90% of people are at work, and their kids are in school and in functional schools, and they're involved in their kids' life. The cops don't have that much to do. Their kids are going to the same school. So it's a totally different cultural dynamic. And it's not even about race. It's like, the same Indians, whites, blacks, Asians, all in those Abington, Jenkintown, Cheltenham areas. And so I think that there's really no reason for a cop. And we gotta talk about the crime in the community. Because if a cop got rogue in Abington, and which is doing all this stuff, he's going to be sticking out like a sore thumb. Because there's nothing happening in Abington. So what is up with this guy? He Rambo for no reason. But when you have crime-riddled neighborhoods, a culture where it's crime, you can get those deviant, aggressive cops that can break the law in those areas because it's so much drama going on in this area. You're not worried about the crooked cop because there's so many shootings tonight. So the crooked cop come in, he could be like, they were shooting around there. He had a gun on him around 22nd Street. Nobody's going to take that person's side that had a gun on him on 22nd Street. They're going to always take the cop side because, but do that in Lower Marion and get aggressive and start shooting at you, you're going to be gone immediately because the culture of the neighborhood, like, you can't come in there and do that. It's like we having a bad kid in the classroom and you sit him in a functional classroom. He's really not going to act up because he's out of his element. Mm-hmm. Now, when he's in the classroom with a bunch of other kids that's going to be acceptable to that, he's going to perform. But you sit him in the classroom with everybody that's quiet and they're doing their work, he's going to want to get out of there. He can't function in there because he's like, I'm not impressing nobody, and this is not the type of culture where I can flourish. So they're flourishing off the culture of crime in a lot of urban communities. And that's something that we also have to address also, is just the sheer amount of crime that's going on. You look at certain areas, you look at other areas, the police is not doing it because there's really not too many crimes violent crimes. I'm not saying there's no crimes in the suburbs, but because they do their drugs and all that stuff, but it's not the sheer amount of violent crime every single night.
Right. Right.
So I think that is the difference between those areas. And you can say economics also, but I think it's more so cultural. And part of the police are living in those communities that they're also policing.
Right. So when you look at communities of high crime, you cannot talk about high crime statistically without talking about low income. Because lack of income leads to high crime. Anytime we see individuals who are raising 2 kids on their own and still making $19,000 a year and are the working poor and are at the or below the poverty line, that's a major problem. When communities of color oftentimes in inner cities look like places like Iraq or Afghanistan, and our kids are having to walk over needles and crack pipes and boarded up homes and gang-infested neighborhoods and playgrounds where weed bags are found, then we have some serious issues, and the issues become drastically disparaging as it compares to our friends who are living in the suburbs. Well, let's look at this, right? So let's look at communities of color who are in high crime neighborhoods. We will understand that because they're high crime neighborhoods, we have low income communities, because those same sort of situations that are taking place in Mantua or in certain places in North Philadelphia or in Southwest Philadelphia are not taking place in Montgomery County, are not taking place in Drexel Hill, are not taking place in Abington. And when we look at the ramifications and repercussions of high crime and low economics, here's what we understand. We understand that the issues are much more far wide reaching. Here's why. Example, when you look at the public school education and how in fact it's funded, it is funded through property taxes of the local community. And so if in fact we have low income job possessors in the community, then they have low housing. If they have low housing, they have low taxes. They have low taxes, you have low amounts of money that can go to the public school system and that local community to fund the school. So it's not a coincidence that certain schools are still using textbooks from 1985. It's not a coincidence that we still have overcrowding. It's not a coincidence that we can easily find funding to build new prisons, but cannot find funding in local communities to build new schools. And if in fact you're living in those kind of communities, then you're getting a second-class education. If you get a second-class education, then you get a third-class job. If you get a third-class job, then you start living a fourth-class life. And then here's what happens. You now have a baby. That baby is born into poverty, and the cycle of poverty begins to continue to recycle itself. We've got to start looking at the infrastructural, systematic, and systemic issues institutionally that have created these pockets of poverty all throughout major cities across this country where dominantly and predominantly people of color are living. I believe, in my own humble opinion, that it has been institutionalized, it is structural, and it is intentional for a certain group of people to remain at the bottom so that the 1% can continue to attain and assess wealth and unprecedented means. And so as a consequence, I think the conversation can't just simply stop at the high crime, because high crime has so many other subsections and subsects under it, under this vast umbrella that we can't get away from. And I'm not suggesting not to do for self. I'm not suggesting that people cannot pull themselves up by the bootstraps. I'm not suggesting self-responsibility and self-empowerment, but it's harder to fight against a whole wall on your shoulders that you've not placed on your shoulders yourself, that have been institutionalized and systemically placed on you, and then you got to fight out of that to get ahead in life. And even if you get ahead in life, oftentimes you're still far behind than the Trumps and the Rockefellers and the DuPonts, who have had 100 and 150 year running start in the race of economic empowerment, and we can't forget that either.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I pointed out, B, when you first said it, I'm like, 12 o'clock. Usually everybody around knows that they're working, and working like, it's not like a minimum wage. They're like a livable wage jobs where they cannot be on the corner at 10 o'clock at night just talking up to they have to be in bed. Wow. Where you drive, I drive through my house, all the houses was dark around the neighborhood around 10 o'clock. Like, everybody lights off.
They got to go to work in the morning.
Majority of people working at,
Niggas got jobs.
They have to pay the bills. They got to go to work and make that money. And now that and that's also true as with economics. Because when I'm at work, there's so many people coming up to the school arguing. But we always say like, they not do all these parents work the overnight shifts? Right. Because there's so many parents just willing to come there and argue with you down after the school, come up to the school, people staying outside. I'm like, nobody works around here. And so that's a big issue, is the economics of a community and how it plays into, the crime, the lounging around and just staying. I remember we went out for lunch one day at work. It was like 12 o'clock. This is when it first started getting hot. My coworker said,